Radio communication. In order for us to manage incidents, maintain accountability, and handle the incident, we need solid radio communication. So some background information on the radio communication system will be necessary for you to know to help you understand terms and what it is that we're trying to accomplish. Basically, we have two types of channels. One is a dispatch channel, and that's where you receive a dispatch for calls, as do other agencies in our system. And remember, at the current time, there are at least two agencies sharing one dispatch channel, and sometimes a third or fourth agency are involved as well. There can be multiple calls going on at the same time. So the dispatch channel is where you get information about the call and you get to the call, but once you're on the call, then, and if we're going to do any sort of a complex operation, particularly one that requires immediate communication for safety, then the dispatch channel is not our best choice once we're on the scene. In that case, we need what's called a tactical channel or a TAC channel. Tactical channels are channels that are not heard by the dispatch center and not talked on by the dispatch center. If you need to talk to the dispatch center, you're going to have to go to the dispatch channel. The TAC channel is for on-scene operations. An example for us would be if we send a crew to make an interior attack on a residential structure fire, we must be able to hear them when they call. We cannot afford to have their request for information, resources, or help be drowned out or overridden or blocked by a dispatch of a call that we're not even going on. So the tactical channel is very important for us, and we have several. I don't even know how many. We probably have access to maybe 10 or 12 tactical channels. We tend to use Gold, the channel named Gold, as our primary tactical channel, the first one we go to, and we tend to use the one named Yellow as the second one that we go to. Currently, City Fire uses Brown as their first TAC channel and Gray as their second. We all have access to what used to be called Red, White, Blue. They're now called VFire 21, VFire 22, VFire 23. There's VTAC 11. There's a number of tactical channels that are available to us. JCIC is a tactical channel available to us for certain reasons, and we'll talk about that in the next little section here. So there's a number of TAC channels available, but the premise here is that the reason we use a TAC channel is so that we don't have important tactical communication on scene overridden by traffic from dispatch, either to us or to another call. There's two types of frequencies that are used in those channels in your radio. One is a repeated frequency and one is a non-repeated frequency. Repeated frequencies are used to be able to talk over long distances with relatively low power radios. If you are running a call out in the county and you need to talk to the dispatch center on your little low-powered 5-watt portable radio, the dispatch center needs to be able to hear you. Now certainly if you go to your apparatus, you've got an 80, 90, 100, a large watt portable mobile radio, well, that may solve the problem right there, but we need to be able to have communication from your hand, from a portable radio held in your hand to the dispatch center, and the only way to do that is to use a repeater system. So basically what happens there is that your small radio transmits, and that transmits on a specific frequency that's only heard by the repeater's receivers. And there's ears all over the county, there's antennas all over the county. And so you talk on this low watt radio on a special repeated channel, which in our case is County Fire, and a receiver hears that and then repeats your message via a phone link, an internet link, but it repeats your message to the dispatch center. So you can be 30, 40 miles away from the dispatch center as long as you're near an antenna, a receiver, and you can hit that with your portable radio on the repeated dispatch channel, County Fire, then you're able to be heard. Now the non-repeated channels are all the others. All of our tactical channels except JCIC are non-repeated. JCIC is a special tactical channel that is repeated. But for the most part, our tactical channels are not repeated. and the range on those is going to be just a mile or so, and maybe even less with portable radios. Not repeated. Now the difference for you is that when you're using a repeated channel, you need to key up your microphone, wait 1 or 2 seconds before talking, and allow that repeater system to engage. Two types of radios: mobiles that have higher power, again 50, 70, 80, 100 watts, compared to a low-powered portable radio at about 5 watts. You'll need to be able to change channels, change the volume, turn scan on and off, understand what channel you're on both the mobiles and the portables. Portables we use on the fire ground. It's very, very critical for your safety as well as the incident management that you be able to utilize the portable. We need you to be able to select the correct channel. Now, our portables have an extended microphone, and that extended microphone has a channel selector on it. It also has a scan button on it. It also has volume control on it. It also has an emergency alert button, the EAB, the orange button. All of those are on the radio itself, and they're also on the extended microphone. It's critical that you know how to change channels on both the portable and the extended mic, turn scan on, scan off, adjust the volume, and use the EAB on both the portable and its extended mic. A good practice for you would be to only change channels on the extended microphone. Because here's how this works. The radio will stay on the channel that was last selected. The last one you selected, whether it was the knob on the radio itself or the knob on the extended mic, whatever one you changed last, that's the one the radio is going to transmit on. If you keep changing the channel on the radio itself, and then you look down at your extended mic, you don't know what channel you're really on until you have to look even further. So at least my best practice is I don't change channels on the radio itself. I just only change them on that extended mic. Now I just look down at that extended mic. I can see it's on 1, I know I'm on county fire. If I see it's on 2, I know I'm on gold. Channel selection, particularly when you're under stress, is an important thing, that you know what channel you're going to be talking on. And so that at least is one best practice that's mine, for instance, where I only change it on I only change the channel on the extended mic. Scan is not particularly helpful on scene. Only in some cases when you're the incident commander do you want to scan. Other than that, scanning is mostly just a distraction. Scanning is when the radio will sample several channels that are in a scan list, in a list of channels that it will scan, and if it hears traffic on any of those, it will let you hear that, and then whatever channel you're selected on to transmit becomes the priority channel. Meaning if there is traffic on the one you're selected on, the radio will switch and let you hear that traffic and ignore on some other channel. But scanning is probably more of a distraction than a help, and you probably ought to avoid it with your portable radio use. Volume control, important that the crew leader have their volume up and crew members and those next to them have their volume down. And then the EAB we'll talk about in a separate deal. Radio operation, a couple things we want to avoid. We want to avoid squealing. So squealing is the feedback and distortion and loud squealing tone noise that occurs when a radio is transmitting in very near proximity, a couple of feet usually, from a speaker that's on that same channel. So if the crew member and the crew leader are both in a structure fire, and the crew members got their volume turned up, and the crew leaders got their volume turned up, and the crew leader transmits, then it's going to squeal back through the crew members, and it's going to make that traffic to where no one can hear it or understand it. So if you start squealing, stop. No one can understand what you're saying anyway. Just stop. And then you've got to get away from whoever's next to you, or they've got to cover the radio or turn that volume down, cover the speaker to where it doesn't squeal. The other thing that happens is that if you are wearing your pager and you're responding to the station to pick up apparatus and your pager is open, your pager speaker is open, you're hearing traffic, and then you get in the apparatus to respond. If you don't remember to turn your pager back to a locked out position, then you'll squeal back through your pager. When you start squealing, stop. fix it, and then do your message again. We don't just keep talking with a squeal over the top. Nobody can hear it. Clipping is when you start talking on a repeated channel before the repeater has engaged. Again, on a repeated channel, and ours are County Fire and the JCIC TAC channel, which we rarely use, but County Fire mostly. When you're going to talk on County Fire, you need to key the mic and wait, and then start talking. And that's about how long it is. You go key, now I can start talking. Otherwise, the first syllables or even words of your message aren't heard, they're clipped. So we shouldn't be clipping and we shouldn't be squealing. And the other thing we have is weak transmission sometimes. Sometimes that's related to low power radios inside metal buildings, and you transmit and the metal building pretty much eats most of the radio waves coming out of your radio, and no one can hear you, or you're in a difficult spot where we don't have good coverage from the receiver antennas. Another thing that causes weak transmission is portable radios in back pockets or even vest pockets. And so if you're struggling to get your radio to reach, you should hold your radio as high as you can, and then you should also consider going to a mobile. Higher power will typically fix your problem. So in summary, we have a dispatch channel, that's County Fire. We have a number of tactical channels. We tend to use gold first for tactical on scene, and then if we need another one, we use yellow. I like to use yellow for water supply group. I like to use yellow for traffic control on a car crash. And like to use gold as the main tactical channel, but we certainly have others. We have VFire 21, which is a statewide mutual aid channel. We like to use that to talk to helicopters for landing zone. We use VFire 22, VFire 23, VTAC 11. There's a whole bunch more. There's multiple calls going on in the district at the same time. We may need to be on different tactical channels depending on how close those incidents are. We have repeated frequencies and non-repeated frequencies. County Fire is repeated, so avoid clipping by keying your mic, waiting, and then talking. It doesn't take long for the repeater to kick up, but it's a second or two, and then you won't be clipping. We want to avoid squealing, which is when you are next to someone who has a speaker, whether it's a pager or a radio speaker, on your same channel and the volume turned up, and your transmission then feeds back through their speaker, and you get this squealing sound that obliterates anything that you're saying. Going back to non-repeated frequencies, we do like to use orange. Orange is good for on-scene communications or near-the-scene communications that don't need to go through the repeaters. So if we're in a neighborhood looking for smoke, or we're in a neighborhood and we're struggling to find an address and we're talking back and forth trying to find it, it's for that sort of coordination and that traffic doesn't need to go over the repeated channel. So orange is helpful for that. Orange is not a good tactical channel because it's really just the other half of the dispatch channel frequency pair. And so anything you're talking on orange is going to be overridden by traffic from Southern Boone Fire or another call somewhere. You should know how to change channels on your portable and adjust the volume. That's critically important for efficient scene operations as well as accountability and safety. A good practice is to only change the channel on the extended mic so you can look down immediately and know what channel you're actually on. So just a quick talk about communication systems and specifics on radio use.